This time on Roadkill, we give the ultimate middle finger to the guys who stole our mini truck.
That's right, the Mazdarati is back, version 2.0, and this time, it's no ripoff. To answer one of the most common questions I get from fans, no, the Mazdarati never came back after being stolen. So we're gonna right that wrong with a new Mazda and a Hot Rod Garage project car in the Super Street garage.
I know, this is perfect, right?
This is gonna be so good, but I think we need to start with sort of the story. There's a lot of background here. Season 4, I surprised you by buying a 1974 Mazda rotary pickup truck.
This thing's awesome. This is the greatest truck ever, isn't it?
And I'll never forget the seller who told us he got thrown out of the drag strip because it wheelied and ran tens. Neither of which it ever did, even when we had it.
Exactly, and the reason he thought that that might be true is that that truck had an Oldsmobile 455 on an early Toronado transaxle in the bed. And so we drove the thing around. Remember, it overheated absolutely brutally?
Yeah, we made our own ducts for the roof to duct down to the radiator, which totally worked.
It did.
It stopped overheating.
Yeah.
We auto-crossed it.
Come on, baby.
We drove it to the drag strip at Chandler, Arizona. We put a 180 shot of nitrous in it. Even with the 180 shot, it wouldn't go tens. It went 1120.
Yeah.
At kind of a big mile an hour. I think it ran like 120 something.
Yeah, and it leaked out of every orifice on that pass. The transaxle, the engine, everything. All over the drag strip. And then it got stolen.
Actually, our crew guys had it on a trailer in Blythe, California, and security cam footage shows the thing getting stolen off the trailer, and it never came home.
No.
Years later, I bought a 39 Ford two-door sedan, and we road tripped the thing through New Orleans, which was a lot of fun, and ended up in Texas, where we found this, the replacement Mazdarati. It is another, I think 74, maybe it's an earlier one, I'm not sure. There's something about the cab size difference in the different model years of these things.
The last year of it had a longer cab.
Right.
Which I would have loved to have had because I never fit in the Mazdarati very well.
But we sat around and bench raced in that episode about what kind of engine we wanted to put in the thing. And then the answer came actually from a leftover project car from the other Motor Trend show called Hot Rod Garage. Now, this vehicle's actually kind of genius. It's a 2006 Impala SS, and those things are factory with a 5.3-liter V8 that is sort of based on an LS motor. They've got some differences, like, you know, there's no starter motor on it, the bell housing bolt pattern is different, stuff like that.
It's mounted sideways in the front of the car.
All of that.
It's very weird.
But what it means is that you can get another one of those complete engine and transaxle packages and throw it in the trunk, which is what Tony and Lucky did on a couple of episodes of Hot Rod Garage. And the whole goal was to make the thing run in the 9s. But like the Mazdarati not running in the 10s, they never got it into the 9s. It went 10-16, and it was so sketchy that not even Tony Angelo would drive it down the track again.
The build is amazing. I'm thrilled about it.
It's clever.
He was not thrilled about driving it down a drag strip, and I totally understand. So why not do our own version of that and get equally scared?
The reason we're able to part out the Hot Rod Garage car, which honestly kind of hurts us, is that I heard that Motor Trend was going to scrap it. And we're like, we can't let that happen. So we figure that the Impala is the perfect donor to put an LS engine on a transaxle in the bed of this Mazdarati, just like the original. I think the first thing that we're gonna do is get the Impala and actually hack the engine and transaxle out of the back of it.
I can't cut that car. I'd feel bad.
We can make Lucky watch. I'm gonna cut the roof off. It'll help. Ready?
Really?
Yep. Both of us feel really bad about taking apart our buddy's project car, but its destiny is sealed.
It's going to the junkyard. There we go.
Now you can get a better look at what they've done here. I think the engine that's in the front is from a GXP. This one's actually from another Impala. This is the original engine those guys installed. The front one's been blown up, I think, 3 times. So, hacking. That
Nice.
usually works.
There we go. There we go. I won't say it looks better, but it's easier to work on.
I bet it's faster. I don't think I mentioned to you that both of these engines are turbocharged. See the intercoolers? It made 940 or 980 horsepower on a four-wheel dyno, which means each engine is making less than 500 horsepower under boost, and they run on E85. They hopped them up a little bit. You can see it's got a Holley Sniper EFI intake manifold on it. Factory 90 millimeter throttle body, which is bigger than what the LS4 stock engine would have had.
So you're telling me that you could have made the same power with heads and a cam on this motor as you did with a turbo?
Yes. The Mazdarati could aim to be quicker with one motor than the Twin Pala was with two.
Ouch. I didn't say that.
That would mean it would run nines, because this ran 1016.
The great thing about this is if it blows up, it's not our fault.
Right.
This was used when we got it.
Yeah, we can explain that.
Could
off.
already be broken,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, but you know what? Hot Rod Garage never blows up LS engines, so. All right, ready?
Yep.
Slaughtering all this actually gave us crystal clear vision on what to do. We decided that we were gonna cut this thing right ahead of this main hoop of the roll bar and cut through the rocker panels and then pull the bed off the Mazda and figure out how to attach this whole thing to the back of the truck. And we may change our minds later, but I think we're like trying to cut the least to begin with and save the most.
I love this plan.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Here comes the last one.
You just bisected an Impala, bro.
Last time we tried to break a car in half, we used a lift, and it was really violent and unsafe.
I hear stuff.
I hear creaking. This is much better.
Oh, starting to go now. Oh, wait. The air inlet tube is holding it together. Okay, that's loose.
Oh, those tubes.
Is that a brake line or a fuel line?
Brake.
Hey, look at it roll. It's a lot easier to take them apart.
What is that, $1,000 worth of gauges in that thing? We should take them out.
A couple grand worth of EFI sitting there, too.
No, we'll save all that.
This is great because, like, the ECU plugs in. It's a few wires. The fuel system's still sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
HRG did all the work for us.
Thanks, HRG.
All right, tomorrow, I think we get this garbage out of the way. We'll strip all the good parts off of it so it doesn't go to waste. And then we got the Mazda on the lift where we will pick the bed up and figure out how to take this and slam it together.
Yeah, clearly, we're not going to waste anything.
Nah, we're gonna be done early. Yeah, you want to like go to the beach on Wednesday or something?
I was going to say, let's get a beer, but okay.
Oh, that's a good idea. Mental warming led to a lot of brainstorming last night. See what I did?
Poet.
I guess we figured out how we want to do this. We're going to put it up in the air and pull the bed off and then think about it from there. A lot of measuring, then a lot of butchery. This truck's actually pretty rare. When did they make them? 72 to 74? Something like that.
3 to 5.
3 to 5, that sounds right. Somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's a Mazda pickup that came with a rotary engine, and not all of them were that way. And the body style is actually different with the rotary. It's got the little fender flares.
Yeah, Ford Courier guys are bummed because they don't have the flared bedside. I don't think they have the battery box either.
This one didn't have an engine in it when we got it. Hit it just a little so I could There, it's out. Great.
I think this is the last one.
Yeah. We think all the fasteners are off the bed, so we're gonna put it down on the ground and list some manpower. We're gonna have producer Taylor and apprentice Mason come in. Okay, great. All right. And down.
Wow, this is crusty. Now the fun part. We have the bed off, obviously, and we're going to roll the back half of the Twin Pala next to our not really rotary powered truck anymore and eyeball, how do we make this fit that?
We rolled this over just to sort of eyeball everything. I've got it lined up on the center line of the axle. It looks like it fits perfectly. We're gonna measure a bunch. Our plan is gonna be to just weld that right to here after we cut this frame off. And obviously it's gonna need a lot of triangulation to work.
This is basically outside of the tube. The outside of the tube is 56.
Yeah.
And outside of this frame is like 44.
Yeah. The roll bar just barely fits in the bed, right?
Yeah, it's just inside of the bed rail by like 3/4 of an inch.
Okay. How are we gonna weld it all in and triangulate it and make it stay there? We just spent a very depressing hour of conversation and convoluting and convoluting and conversating. And we're not gonna be able to attach the back half of the Twin Pala to the back half of the Mazdarati. How come?
Gravity.
There's no way to attach it and triangulate it and make this thing actually good. So what we're gonna end up doing is parting that whole thing out and installing the engine and transaxle on the factory cradle in this frame, which means we're gonna have to redo everything. We can reuse everything, but we'll be remounting everything.
We really thought we were just gonna be able to roll this up to the back of the truck, cut, weld, let's do burnouts.
It looked promising, but instead, I think we're about to embark on the biggest fabrication project you've ever seen on Roadkill. I'm standing here cutting out everything that doesn't need to be here. So I'm gonna remove this cross member, I'm gonna leave that one so that the frame hangs together a little bit. These brackets are gonna be in our way. Obviously the gas tank's gotta go out. I'm doing the dirty work. He's doing the unbolting organizational work. Cool. That's off.
Okay.
All this good fab work gone.
It is a nice piece.
And we have liberated the parts that we actually need. This is an LS4, it's a 5.3 aluminum head engine, and those guys left the stock cam in it, sniper intake, 90mm throttle body, headers and stuff. The transmission is actually transaxle and brand new gear star unit, but now we have to figure out how to get all of this under the Mazda.
We're revolutionaries.
Beat it.
Look at that.
Bye-bye.
Now all I gotta do is slide that under this. Car will build itself.
Yeah, see, and now that it has no camber control, they're just gonna flop everywhere.
All right.
Ready?
Yes, let's go. It's working. Oh, this is exciting.
How's that?
Let's lower it down.
It's probably fine where it is. Just tack it. We freed the whole engine and transaxle and factory Impala cradle out of the Twin Pala roll cage. And now we've got it actually underneath the Mazda, and you know, it's that moment where you have hope because it looks kind of cool.
Well, this is our lose the shop moment. Here's where we're at. The truck isn't at ride height. In fact, it's pretty far above where ride height should be. Although the tires are touching the ground, there's no engine, there's no weight in the front end of this. Ideally, this truck should sit probably another 2 inches lower.
We're at a you can't get there from here moment. The front mount for the cradle needs to move up so much that we basically have to cut the entire frame off, which puts us right back to the point that we were at when we were considering put the entire back half of the Twin Pala up against the back of the truck, which we can't do because we can't build a roll cage and triangulate the suspension because of a bunch of rust and the frame's too narrow. You can't get in and out of the cab. So for all of those reasons, this might not happen.
Oh, no, I just fixed it.
Hey, Mike just fixed it.
Let's just cut the mounts off and make new ones.
And on the aluminum cradle,
Yeah, these don't have to be where they're at.
now we're talking about modifying the aluminum cradle. Stay tuned.
It's a new day, which means we have new opportunities for solutions to our problems. The truck is a mini truck. The drivetrain came out of a mid-sized car. Essentially, we couldn't get a ride height that we wanted for this truck because our cradle was already sitting against the frame without the front wheels touching the ground really, without weight in it, without the thing loaded, without it even lowered. It was not gonna work. So while we stared at this, we had two options. It was either cut the cast aluminum mounts off the cradle, relocate them, weld them back together. Not exciting because it's cast aluminum, that's tricky to weld. Or we treat the mini truck like a mini truck and we step notch the frame. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna weld a piece of box tubing on top of the original frame, 360 degrees. Then we're gonna cut out this section of frame under it, plate it, box it. That gives us room to move this all the way up here, about 4.5 inches, which will level our cradle. Now, is it ideal? No. These wheels stick outside the bedsides anyway, so we really can't lower the truck too much right now. So for us, this is an excellent solution to the problem, and it allows us to move forward because once this is mounted, then we can mount the back of the cradle, then we can start figuring out how to make it run again and hopefully do burnouts. Step one, take this, transfer it to metal, cut the metal, put the metal here, weld it together.
Finnegan is making like the support braces in here for the frame, and I've cleaned up and removed all of the brackets and everything. Now I've got to pick the truck up, roll the engine out, clean up the inside of the frame, and then we'll be able to come back in and like weld the whole thing.
Okay, these are our frame gussets. We are about to MIG weld these to the top of the original frame section, and once this is fully welded and capped, we'll go back underneath and cut out all the material we need to remove so that we can then mount our cradle level. Victory!
We're done with our like weapons grade reinforcement here, and next we had to figure out where we're going to hack so that we can take this engine cradle and move it as high as we can in the frame so we can get the truck as low as we can. And so Mike just measured it out and drew these cut lines right here. And I think we're gonna pick it up, roll the engine back out, and then I will hack that.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, this is a big moment right here. We have notched our frame, and before we box it all in and reinforce it, we're gonna roll the whole setup underneath it, lower the truck down to what I think is ride height, and get our first good look at how this is gonna fit in here. Just step notched our mini truck.
This is gonna be the first time we see the actual ride height because now that engine cradle is gonna sit up into those notches.
Okay, go back just a little bit. Oop. So this needs to go down.
Okay, I'm gonna go down.
Yep.
Ready? It's about there.
All right,
down
now
more.
I can lower the truck more.
Yep. Yes. That's what we need.
Much happier.
Yep. We got it much lower in the back with that notch. This is actually starting to be something.
This is exciting.
Yeah,
This worked.
it's way better.
Man. Like, make sure we have the wheels centered on the chassis where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
We could just draw a line here weld the tube in, and then bolt it.
Right now, I think we could measure from some reference point on the frame back to the center of the bolt hole and make sure it's the same on both sides.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been some long days, but this is a moment of victory. We finally got these notches in the frame, boxed them in. We got our ride height where we want. We're gonna split. I think we're mounting the engine tomorrow.
This is gonna be cool because it's gonna be under the bed rail.
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna wanna steal our truck because you're not gonna see headers sticking out, you know? Unless we lose our mind and mount the turbos up here someday, nobody will know.
In tribute to the original Mazdarati.
Yeah, I love that you suggested. Now I don't have to talk you into it. That's
Right.
great.
I'm gonna go home and sleep. This morning we've got the engine back out of the truck. We gotta make this whole thing square in the truck this way and even side to side.
So it's essentially a 40-inch bolt spread from front to back, and then the center line of our lower ball joint is 13 5/8. Our already marked center line of our wheel wells
Yep.
and go forward 26
6 3/8.
3/8. That's where we put our holes, and then we just had to measure the width here between those two front ones. Okay, you're on the dot.
I am on the dot.
So that's 42 5/8. It's close. It's within an eighth.
Okay.
That's good enough for who it's for.
All right.
Yeah.
You know there's no chance this is gonna be perfectly square, right?
Don't ever know. Are you gonna get a ruler out on your TV? No, you're not.
No, it's gonna be great.
That's right. So we know about where our cradle needs to go. We even have marked the holes in our frame. Now this is box tubing, and if I put a hole in here and I put a nut through here and a bolt and I just start cranking on it, it's actually gonna crush this. So what we're gonna do is drill an even bigger hole than we need for our bolt, slide this tubing through it, have some of the tubing stick out on each end, and then we're gonna weld it precision around there. So now when we tighten our bolt that's going through this tube, it's trying to crush this tube, not this tube. And this tube, that's not getting crushed. It's gonna be sturdy. You know why? Because we care at Roadkill.
We cut these notches for that cradle large enough that we decided we could go back in there and triangulate this and make it all stronger.
Okay, we are close. We can now put our bolts in to guide us. Okay, now you can jack it up. There you go, keep going. Oh yeah, plenty of all thread. Okay, we're there. We can do nuts and washers on this side.
We're attaching this with all thread right now, just sort of temporarily. And we've got grade 8 bolts on order.
Yeah, now we can go down and then figure out where we want to make the rear cross member.
Pallet jack gone for the last time. Great. All right, I'm gonna go cut up the twin Pala cage and bring it in here and see if it's actually gonna work. If it does, it's gonna save us a ton of time.
Yeah.
Sawzall. This is the structure out of the back of the twin Pala. Here's my thought process. If we can take advantage of the fabrication that they've already done, then it establishes the pickup points here for that engine cradle, and also, maybe more importantly, where the struts attach. Now, if they had the struts attached in the wrong place and that's why they had really bad handling problems, then we will also have really bad handling problems. But don't tell Finnegan that right now. Ready?
Dude, if this works, this is gonna be so cool.
It's gonna save a lot of time. Oh, dude. It's gonna work. We have to shorten this bar, which we can then weld to this angle right there, and then it's gonna attach.
Well, the only problem with that is this is real close to the angle it needs to be at.
Well, even if this down bar doesn't work, all of that works.
Yeah, this gives us whatever, crazy alignment they had the back of their car,
Right.
which either works or doesn't.
So I say we slowly trim this until that matches.
I'm all about doing things slowly.
What we're gonna attempt to do is land these original bars on the top of our frame and weld it up. In the back right now, we've got a little bit of angle going on to the mount, so we need to set that down, and that'll happen if this bar moves down. So I'm gonna try and trim it right here on both sides. Nailed it.
Nice.
Wow. I got a huge gap on this side.
The whole cradle can roll forward.
Okay, so just the inside of this needs to be trimmed. We did it. This is a huge time save. We made this back of the Twin Pala work, so Mike's gonna zap it on, and then we can bolt struts on.
We can bolt struts in now. I got a nut on mine, we just gotta tighten it, and we need a nut in your donut on yours.
Yeah. More. And
Down slow.
down, slow. Yep. Okay.
The weight of the vehicle is now on the struts if you keep going.
Yep.
Woo!
That's on the ground.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna ride good, dude.
Great. We still need to make some supports so the back half of it is attached to the Mazda.
I'm gonna sleep way better tonight,
Me too.
knowing this is like in there, you know?
Yep.
I don't know what day it is, but yesterday went really good. We got our drivetrain pretty well locked in place, except for some critical bracing. Right now, I'm gonna make tubes that'll be fish mouth on both ends to connect this factory cross member down to the one that the guys at Hot Rod Garage made. We're gonna use a technique called fish mouthing, which is cutting and contouring the tubing so that when it meets another piece of round tubing, it fits like this. The easiest way to make that opening is with a hole saw that's the same size as the tube diameter. I don't have that, so we can't use that. But what I can do is I can set my tubing up. I can look at it right there, and I can use the tube to mark this other tube like that. Once I've marked it like that, then all I gotta do, grind the contour. And once you've ground the contour, which is what I did here, these two things fit together like butter.
I made a couple of fish plates. They'll go vertically like this. Mike's welding one on right now. Basically, they're overlapping where a bunch of joints of metal come together to add some rigidity to that frame. The Impala has a factory motor mount that goes right here and attaches to the firewall or something like that. And Hot Rod Garage had made one, but it was too short for our application. So I took theirs, cut it in half, and then we got a sleeve, a piece of tubing that fits fairly nicely over their unit right there, and we're gonna use that to extend this piece. When you do that, it's a good idea to drill holes in it like that so that you can do what's called rosette welds in there. And you'll notice that I put one end here, and then the other end is 90 degrees out. I don't know why, it just seems like the strong thing to do. So I will slide that over there, slide this over that, land that right there on the frame. That's ready to tack.
There we go. I'm pretty much burnt out on cutting, grinding, welding, anything that involves throwing sparks at my furry body. I don't know why I haven't caught fire or spontaneously combusted. That's how much work we've done to fortify the chassis of our mini truck to accept the drivetrain of the Twin Pala. It is gusseted, front to back, side to side. It's fixed, man. It ain't falling apart. All right, let's get all this in there. I don't know why after 10 hours it feels like I did way more than I can cross off from this list. And maybe it's because somebody else already crossed some of the things off. I'm gonna cross them again. Yay us. Go outside and fart.
Hi there, day 6. He's finally got the bracing done so that when it's torque steering really badly, at least the engine's not flopping around.
Not gonna fall out.
Yeah. I'm gonna fiddle around with stuff out here, and you're gonna do the
Shifter.
drift handle and shifter.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Ha. I win. This is not the right way to do this, but it's done. And like it never happened. Boom. And it moved it away so we can put our cable through probably right about here, gaining us a few precious inches.
You gotta be flexible and creative. Our Mazda has a braking system that apparently you can't buy any parts for. We found Duralast brake pads, but everything else is nothing. And we wanna drive this thing fast. So here was the solution. Finnegan came up with this, it was great. We're gonna put a drift handle in it. And for the time being, all we're gonna have is rear brakes. So I have to mount this thing in here, put this master cylinder on there. We're gonna plumb it with soft line the whole way, which you're not really supposed to do. All right, let me put this together. I'm doing this and the shifter because I went as far as I could on the EFI wiring, and Finnegan snipped most of it out of the other vehicle, so he knows what wires go where and I don't.
We have a shifter. Done.
Yay. Mike is working on hanging the ECU in the cab and dealing with some other little wiring, and so I'm gonna jump in and do a radiator. We had planned on putting the radiator up front, but we're gonna save a lot of time right now by hanging it back here because it already has the pipes all lined up. So I just need to get some angle iron and weld it across here, just make ourselves sort of a quick and dirty deal.
All right, this is a Holley Terminator X ECU. It's a pretty cool unit. This is our ignition system because we are coil on plug. This is our transmission controller. This is also our electronic fuel injection. Now, a couple things you need to know when you install one of these. Obviously, you don't want it wet. You don't want it to get really, really hot. You don't want to just lay it on the floor underneath the front seat either. So I bent this panel up out of some random aluminum I found laying around, and we're gonna bolt it right here to the rear cab wall. It will fit behind the seat. The wires will route nicely right up there. There's J1A. One goes here. This is power and ground, which goes directly to the battery. Not the starter, not the alternator, nowhere else, directly to the battery.
We've resorted to butchery as if that isn't what we've been doing all along. I just scabbed in a couple of pieces of angle iron right here. And if you think that's cheesy, wait for the next step. You know, a ratchet strap is really just a glorified zip tie. Oh man, this is gonna be good.
2 straps. That's how you know you care.
Yeah. Day 7, and if you thought my radiator installation was butchery, wait till you see what happens today as we take a flamethrower to even our standards.
Our goal was just to do a burnout, and there's a lot of things we could do better, but that doesn't equal burnout. So ratchet straps everything now. Whatever it takes to get it out that door and spin the tires.
That's pretty much what's gonna happen. I am going to somehow install the old fuel system, which, what is that, like a 3-gallon cell, maybe 5?
That's 3.
3? It's only gonna get us through a burnout. I think you do need to put the weights on the front crossmember because we know from the original Mazdarati that it won't even steer inside the shop without weight on the nose. It's pushing. Ah! Whoa!
So yeah, I'll start on the weights. So you do the fuel system. Then that just leaves the gas pedal and the battery. This is the key to having steering in your rear-engined mini truck. What I'm gonna do is take the bar that these would go on normally, sink it through the front crossmember where normally there'd be a motor, weld it in place and stack, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these, and cross my fingers, that's the exact right amount of weight to allow us to steer and stop. Someday we'll have front brakes, not today. see, 95, 140, 190. Done. I wonder if it lowered the truck.
That's still gonna need a little something, something. Ratchet strap. Security. You ready for the magic?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna zip tie this over here.
What I like about this is not only is it SFI approved, but it really takes the focus off the ratchet straps and puts it on the zip ties where it belongs.
Wow, that's butch. Meanwhile, I'm running brakes.
Look how sturdy it is, though. I'm shaking the whole car.
Yeah.
Calling it good. Enough for who it's for.
Do not do this at home. We're making progress. Finnegan just spent a while making sure that our tune-up was okay on the Holly computer. The last element of the EFI that I need to deal with is the fly-by-wire pedal. There's no cable from the throttle pedal on this deal. It actually just is controlled from the ECU, and back there, the throttle will open and close based on this. It's interesting that they've got this doubled up from the Twin Pala when they had 2 engines in it, so it was actually reading 2 different sensors to open 2 different throttles. That's kind of a handy gas pedal.
Dave's putting the gas pedal in, I'm putting the coolant in. Getting close.
Okay, that's probably really uncomfortable, but it's in. Bolted it to the stock location. All right, season 13, we finally learned that vehicles need gasoline to run.
Is this really gonna happen? I've never heard it run. We may have gone through all this trouble only to find out, you know, the motor's junk or the trans doesn't shift.
Hey,
Which would be really funny.
who are you accusing of what? We're gonna try and fire it up.
Yes. Okay, leave the ignition on for me.
Ignition's still on. Finnegan's gonna check the computer and see if we can see what's going on.
USB link so we can see it live. Try it again. Oh.
Does it show fuel pressure?
It's telling me we don't have fuel pressure.
Well, yeah, the pump's not running.
Oh, wait. It helps when you ground it.
Oh, I thought you did.
I thought I did too. I think we're cool. Yep. Go for it.
All right, back on and cranking.
That wants to run.
It runs. Up. Something didn't like it.
Right to the wood, Dulcich.
Of course.
Okay, fire it up again. Gotta let it warm up.
We made it run. This thing was on an E85 tune-up, and E85 requires a lot more fuel than gas, so
We took like 50% of the fuel out of the base fuel map.
bingo, and it runs way better.
Yeah.
We think it's actually good enough to drive at this point. We're gonna bleed the brakes, I think tomorrow.
Burnouts.
Drink. Drink. Okay,
Okay.
up. Now open it,
It's opened.
and down, and
Ooh,
holding,
There we go. Closed.
and up.
Open.
Hey, yesterday I promised everybody that it would run late today.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh, high five.
yeah,
Nice.
first time ever.
All right.
Lived up.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily proud, but we're done.
When you say it out loud, I mean, you're right, yeah.
We'll make it way better next time. Ready to go do burnouts?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do burnouts.
No, we're gonna check the brakes first.
Oh yeah, let's do that. All right, just roll a little. Oh, that works.
Oh, we got brakes.
Yeah, that's Finnegan style right there. Yep.
Oh,
Ooh, spunky.
let's see if it steers. Oh, it steers.
It's not skidding around. All right, I'm gonna chalk the front wheels and we'll try a burnout. So far, the brake works, steering works, and it seems really peppy in just the tiny bit that we hit it. gonna push it.
I think it just ran it over.
Are you willing to do just to mash it and go?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know if
let's
it'll
do
do
that.
anything,
Wheel chocks didn't work. We're just gonna mash it. I can't tell what happened there. It didn't squat.
but yeah, it hooks really well.
Right.
All right. Try it again.
Yep.
Yeah, it just hooks. It doesn't want to do a burnout.
If it would run right, it would be fast. This thing seems to just want a boogie. We're matting it, and it's barely hazing the tires. It's mostly just accelerating. It makes no power. While we feel vindicated that it runs and drives and hooks up and is ready for the next episode where we turbo it and put a bed and everything, we still need a burnout.
We need a burnout.
I've got water on the rear end, and I'm gonna throw a wheel block in here. I've already got one on the other side. We're gonna see if we can improve the tire smoke situation. I think you're good.
Okay.
Well, that's a little tire smoke. Still a lot of traction. This thing's gonna run 10s no problem.
It's got way too much traction.
It does. This thing hooks. Now we got desperation going on. We have the Mazdarati 2.0, we have a yank strap, we have camera, Alex's Jeep XJ. Now it should smoke the tires.
Let's try this again.
Yeah, we got tire smoke, baby.
That might bring the fire department.
Mazdarati 2.0! We had to go to great lengths to smoke the tires. That was great. Rubber on the roof, on the ground, not on the tires, all over the engine.
We made slicks.
Yes,
This is great.
it really is good.
Wow. Who knew? We just needed a Jeep in our lives. I might be a Jeep guy now. We should leave.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Let's disconnect this and get out of here.